Hey everyone, my name is Charity Ann Chambers and everyone watches accesstv.org. Watch it, like it, and share it.
Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching accesstv.org. Hello and welcome to Civic Beat. I'm Nyesha McCauley, and join me for the next 15 minutes or so as we take a journey through what's happening here in our city and with our government. That's the purpose of Civic Beat, is to just talk about how our government works and how you can participate or not participate. The thing about government is that it's designed to work both ways. Participatory or not. So you decide which role you want to play in how decisions are made in our city. This first show is dedicated to a good friend of mine, Sister Trish. So shout out to Sister Trish. And why is this show dedicated to Sister Trish? She has decided to run to be a part of the town committee. And at some point during this series of Civic Beat, we'll get into town committee business and how that all works and the intersection between being a member of town committee and that role in our government, how it affects you specifically. But she's going to run for town committee, and it's interesting, her rationale and reasoning behind wanting to run. And she's a pedestrian. And I love pedestrians because I am one often, particularly when the car's not working. I am a pedestrian, and that puts you on the street, and that puts you on Connecticut Transit. And you notice a lot of things when you are taking part in our lovely transit system, particularly on snow days and on rainy days. So Sister Trish would like to see better bus shelters on our city streets. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's an awesome reason to want to participate in the decision-making process. And that's what we're going to talk about here on Civic Beat. I'm flying solo this morning on my first show, but that won't always be the case. There are some shows where I may bring in a guest to talk about different things that are happening in the city. There's lots of development going on, and we're going to plug into that and how you can make decisions and what you see around you, just from what's happening on your street to what's happening down at City Hall. So first show, Sister Trish, thank you and good luck. You know, I think running for town committee is one of the best ways that you can plug into your city government and get a better understanding of how things operate here in your government. And like I said at the beginning of the show, you know, you choose to participate or not participate, and it really is designed both ways. I think there are some who would rather see you sit home and not participate at all. But since you're joining me today, I think you want to know more about how you can plug in. And so we're going to explore some of those areas. One of the first things I wanted to get into today was about public policy. You know, public policy affects us. It's kind of like the Matrix. You know, if you're a big fan of the Matrix, you might understand where I'm going with this. So the Matrix, as Morpheus explained to Neo, is all around you, right? You can't touch it, you can't taste it, you can't see it. And public policy works in many ways just like that, right? You get up, you go to work, you're not necessarily aware of how public policy is affecting you, but it does. And we're going to point out some of those ways that it impacts your life and and how you can be, again, plug in and be a part of the process or not. You know, that's the great thing about our city government, is that you don't have to participate. It's just that if you don't participate, someone else is making decisions for you on your behalf, and you may or may not like those ideas. So public policy is government's way of problem solving. So there's many problems that happen in a city, right? Many problems happen with the roads that we travel on. They need repairs. The trash that gets picked up needs to be picked up, right? Public health, diseases, different things. And so the government's answer to a lot of our societal problems is public policy. And so a group of lawmakers get together and decide, you know, what's good, what's bad, what can they do to resolve our problems. So here's a great way to, again, plug in. You can have a say in how our problems get solved. And most of the times our problems can be solved better with a local solution. And what does that mean? That means by you, because you're affected directly by whatever problem that it is. If your trash is not being picked up on Mondays and at its scheduled time, you know, that could be a problem for you. And so how do you resolve that? Where do you go? What do you do? So Civic Beat is going to be an exploration for many of us. It's going to be an education for many of us, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to try and make this an exciting journey as we travel through. As I was sharing with my husband, we're going to lift up the skirt of this city and look underneath and see how it functions and how it operates. And I think we'll all be better for it. I'm no expert, not a professor, don't hold a PhD, but I think you know, we'll learn together. Many of these things will enlighten one another. So I look forward to your feedback and your commentary and your questions. You know, let's ask our government what it's doing for us, and then also ask ourselves, what are we doing for our government and for our city? And usually when I use that term government, I'm always going to be referring to the City of Hartford, because that is where this show originates from, and that is where I originate from. So I'm always talking about Hartford because I think you have the greatest impact on what policy is shaped here in the city. So I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive a little closer down into an issue that is come up here in the city that you can be a part of. It's coming up relatively quickly, so it's something that you need to know about, something that you want to keep your eyes and ears tuned to. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will explore a little bit more. So stay tuned to Civic Beat.
Author E. Diane Cook shows children the power of love in her new illustrated book, the second in a series offering young readers fun-filled, exciting stories with life lessons. Follow Keturah Anderson's adventure with a story about loving others and yourself, and discover a town with colorful characters who are judged by what's seen on the outside. The Andersons, Keturah's Bedtime Story, available online at www.amazon.com.
At Hartford Public Schools, we care about one thing above all, the future of our kids. That's why we're dedicated to providing all students with the knowledge and skills needed in the new global culture. Hartford Public Schools is thriving. More student success stories, more world-class facilities, more university and corporate partnerships, more amazing talent coming and staying in Hartford. This is how education is supposed to work. Welcome to Hartford Public Schools, where the future is present.
And welcome back to Civic Beat. I'm Nyesha McCauley. Thank you for staying with us. Or if you're just joining us, if you actually, this is on demand, so you could actually skip through. It's not like regular television, I have to remember that. But if you are just tuning in at this particular point in time, maybe you missed my introduction of the show and you want to know what is Civic Beat all about. Well, it's a new show designed to bring you a little inside look into how your city, the City of Hartford, functions and operates, and how to impact the decisions that are being made on your behalf. And as I said in the first half of the show, you can choose to participate or not participate. You know, our government is designed for it to work both ways. and there are some that would probably rather have you not participate. So you decide which side of that coin that you want to be on. But Civic Beat is going to take a look at the different ways the government intersects in our lives and how we can participate in it. So if you are one of those folks who want to participate, stay tuned, because we're going to have lots of information to bring to you. Now, at the first half of the show, at the end of the first half of the show, I talked about an important announcement, an important date coming up. Before I get to that, I do want to remind you, one of the things that we're going to look at too is our city council meetings, because I think there's a lot happening at our city council meetings and things that could be brought to more light, some decisions that you could participate in more if you were aware of certain items or how they impact you and why it matters to you or doesn't matter to you. And I, again, think it goes both ways. So city council meetings are held on the second and third Mondays of every month. And the second Monday of the month is generally a city council meeting preceded by a public comment portion. And that's a great time for you to go down to City Hall and talk to your council members about different issues. It could be items on the actual council agenda, or it could be anything, any issue that you are having trouble with. We have many people who come down to City Hall and they have a one topic, and they come to every city council meeting and they talk about that one topic, such as trash. There's one member here and resident here in the city who is constantly complaining about the amount of trash that's on her street, and she wants something done about it. And the city council is a great place to go to get that kind of issue resolved. It's also a great place to go when there's other things that are happening in your life that city government has direct control over. The 9 members on that city council have direct control over affecting that decision. So your voice matters because they will respond to you. Many of our city council meetings go unattended. No one is there in the audience other than the city council members themselves and their aides or their council assistants. They're the only people in the room. And it's really, actually, if you think about it this way, it's tough on your council people to run government that way. They often rely upon your input and feedback when they are making decisions. They're just like you and me. They live in the city of Hartford. They drive the same roads. We travel past the same bodegas to and from work, picking up our kids, doing all the same things. And so it's often nice to hear from other residents in the city when you're making big decisions that are going to impact everyone. And that's what government does, impacts everyone on a large scale. So one of the things, so that's your city council. We're going to definitely bring you updates on what's happening at city council. So second and fourth Mondays. The third Monday of the month is for a public hearing as well, but it's usually only on a few items that the council has to get feedback from the community on. But second and fourth Mondays of the month, city council meetings, and so we'll bring you information and updates and also guests. We'll bring in a couple of folks from City Hall to talk more about what items are on the agenda that impact you in your life. One of the things I wanted to bring to your attention was a function of our city government. So our city government gets federal dollars. Some money is allocated from the federal government directly to the city for community development. And so this is happening. It happens every year on an annual basis. And there's a handful of folk who are going to receive large amount of money. It's very sizable amounts of money that's handed out from the federal government, passed through, coming directly from the feds, given to the city. The city then disperses it amongst several nonprofit organizations in the city for the purpose of community development. Now, we're going to take a look at this very closely because it's interesting of who gets that money why they get that money, and how that money is then allocated. So I might step on some toes over the next couple of weeks, but we're going to look at it anyway. Now, some of the people who receive funding every single year. So one of the questions I want you to keep in the back of your mind as we look at CDBG funds, and that's Community Development Block Grants, is, has that money been used effectively and appropriately, and how do you see it manifest in your community and in the city of Hartford? So there is a meeting coming up Thursday, February 6th at the Hartford Public Library, 500 Main Street, 10 to noon. It is a public hearing and technical assistance. So if you want to know more about how you can be a part of kind of obtaining some CDBG funds, you definitely want to go out February 6th. To that meeting and learn more about it. But I'm also going to bring some folks here from the City of Hartford to talk more about this money, how much it is, how you can apply for some of it, and what impact can it have in your community. This is a great time to participate because there's lots of money that's being allocated here. So, Civic Beat, please, comments, feedback, questions. We are again taking a look at city government in Hartford and the intersection of government and how it impacts our lives. So that is my first show, and I want to thank you for joining me, and stay tuned. We have a lot to talk about over the next couple of weeks. Be well.
At Hartford Public Schools, we care about one thing above all, the future of our kids. That's why we're dedicated to providing all students with the knowledge and skills needed in the new global culture. Hartford Public Schools is thriving. More student success stories, more world-class facilities, more university and corporate partnerships, more amazing talent coming and staying in Hartford. This is how education is supposed to work. Welcome to Hartford Public Schools, where the future is present.